saying that a lot today.
It's worked just fine until last week, Friday, and then today.
I agree, it was hard to hear you last.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, when I was on last, you're just a long way
I'm
away.
a long ways away. I will try to really project. I'll use my teacher voice
Yeah. Kinda have to.
rather than my,
We'll be okay with that here so they can all hear you all right.
make sure everybody mutes.
Somebody has to mute.
What's that?
Mute your phones, please, if you're not speaking. That's how we get the back, feedback.
We could just meet in a small auditorium too, couldn't we?
Yeah.
It's a little late for that today. Maybe June.
Do you see our student reps on there yet?
I saw,
Looks
Is
like
that
this is
Aaliyah?
working.
is Aaliyah on there?
Oh, wait.
Or Sarai?
Oh, there she is, isn't she?
Waiting in the lobby. Let her in.
So Aaliyah is in, waiting.
She needs to be, there we go.
I just had to admit her, she was waiting in the lobby.
Okay,
Thank you. Wow, you're somewhere fancy, John.
is that the library
Sorry
copy?
about that, we don't have to be heathens.
Ask him to see if he's got pants.
I don't want, no, I'm not gonna ask that.
He's in sweatpants.
We're just not gonna go there.
We don't wanna know.
We don't wanna know. All right, it's 3:00, so I think we're going to get started. Before I begin, I'm going to read this statement. Due to the current federal and state emergency declarations and guidance about limiting person-to-person contact due to the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic, all meetings of Austin Public Schools ISD 492 School Board will be conducted in accordance with Minnesota Statute 13D.021, meetings by telephone or other electronic means until further notice. Consistent with the federal and state guidance, the board chair has determined that an in-person meeting is not practical or prudent because of the current pandemic. As a result, the May 11th, 2020 Austin Public Schools ISD 492 School Board meeting will take place at 3 p.m. in the district office, with a reminder for everybody online to mute their phones if they are not speaking. Thank you. With one or more board members possibly participating by telephone or other electronic means. In accordance with Minnesota Statute 13D.021, members of the public are not permitted to attend this meeting due to the current health pandemic. However, persons may monitor this meeting from a remote location by visiting the school district website, www.austin.k12.mn.us, where they will find the live stream video. The meeting will also be available on our district's YouTube channel following the meeting. So with that, we'll call this meeting to order. Roll call, Sharon?
Dubay,
Here?
Fox,
Here.
Getz,
Here.
Leathers,
Here.
Lees,
Here.
Young,
Here.
Green.
Here.
All right. Everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we approve the agenda, I have a couple items that we're going to be adding. First, board reports, if there are any, which I know of at least one, and then recognitions. So can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So.
Second.
Second.
Do we need to do a roll call vote for this?
Yep.
Okay, we need to do roll call votes for all of the action items. So, roll call votes.
Dubay,
Yes.
Fox,
Here.
Getz,
Yes.
Leathers,
Yes.
Lees.
Here.
Young. Young. Hello.
Yes.
And Green.
Yes.
All right. we're gonna start with board reports. Are there any reports other than myself?
I listened to Commissioner Ricker's, phone call today with MSBA members, and it was, she was reiterating a lot of the same information that we already know. There is really no new information. So I just thought I'd report that if anybody didn't get a chance to listen in.
That's good, I didn't get to listen.
You didn't miss a whole lot. It was a lot of the information that we've already been told, so.
Alright. As the representative for the Austin Public Education Foundation, I'm disappointed, to share that this year we've had to cancel the Packer Classic,
Carolyn,
fundraiser. Yes?
it's very difficult for us to hear.
Maybe,
I'm getting about every third word.
maybe I should go down there.
That's up to you. Either or
Somebody writing.
talk a little. Do you have any trouble hearing me, Kathy?
That, your level right there was good.
Okay, I will talk a lot louder. I keep forgetting
Thank you.
that it's not just this room, so thank you.
Thank you. Use
So-
your outside voice.
I will. So it's very disappointing to have to share that we've had to cancel this year's Austin Public Education Foundation Packer Classic Golf Tournament. Given the pandemic situation, given the issues around social distancing for any large gathering, and then also we just didn't feel comfortable asking donors to give large amounts of money during an economic crisis as well. So that event has been canceled for this year. We are looking forward to the 2021 Packer Classic, and as always, people can always be donating to the foundation. This year, the foundation was able to give over $80,000 in grants to teachers and buildings within the district. So it was very exciting to see all of those resources be available. If anybody feels compelled to give to the Austin Public Education Foundation, it's a great resource for this district, and we'll look forward to golfing with you all next year. Any other board reports?
I'd just like to say, being an avid reader of David's Week in Review, that it's really nice to see those numbers about meals that are being served to our students. I mean, over 3,000 just about all the time, and it's really a fantastic initiative, and I'm proud that our school does that, school district does that.
Great. Kathy or Peggy, do you have anything to share?
Do not. Just that on the national level, we have hired a new executive director, Anna Chavez. Previously, she had been the executive director of Girl Scouts of America. Most recently, she has worked with the American Aged Coalition. She's got extensive experience in the nonprofit area, and also she has her law degree, impeccable credentials, and we're really excited. She starts, I think, June 1st. So
Great,
we'll have a new director at the helm at the national level.
thank you. All right, I have one recognition that I would like to provide for this meeting. Because this is our May board meeting, at this meeting, we always have the honor of recognizing our graduating senior student school board member. And this year that is Aaliyah Andrade Yepes. We have a really great plaque for you, Aaliyah. And we'd love to just thank you for your time and your service for the last 2 years on the school board. And if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about what your plans are for next year, we'd love to hear what you've got coming up in the fall.
Yeah, I can't really turn me. Okay. Thank you so much. So my plans for next year are to go to Riverland with the Austin Assurance Scholarship. and I'm gonna major in biotechnology. After that, I plan to transfer to Mankato State to finish off my degree in biotechnology.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Can we give
Thank you.
Aaliyah a round of applause? Aaliyah, we will have this plaque. I don't know if you can, I'm sure you can't see it because I'm about a mile away from the screen. But we will have this available and ready for you along with your diploma when you pick that up.
Okay,
Great. Thank you for your time. I know we didn't ask both of our our student board members to share anything today, but do you have anything that you want to say or share about how things are going?
Not much. I am enjoying online school. I like waking up, not so early. The schoolwork is like going pretty good. I feel like they're being very lenient on us. And it's very sad that we won't have like a big graduation like everyone else did, but it's okay.
Thank you. How about you, Sarai?
Alright, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
We sure can.
Okay, alright, so, for my school, online school is going pretty well. I like it because it's super flexible. For an example, I do 2 classes per day, so I kind of like on my Friday and weekend, I have like everything, by those days, I have everything done, so I have free time. And then I've been asking like other students here, even my sister, 'cause she goes to high school too, and she hates online school. She is not happy. After I found out that prom was canceled, I was like, okay, I really don't mind if we go back to school or not, because I was kind of wanting to go to prom, but hopefully my senior year I do go. And then I was doing like, as I mentioned, I asked more students like my peers, and one of the cons they said they can't ask their teachers like in person or one-on-one or even stay after school. And the pro is that students get to use more email because I've seen students like write emails by night emails as well as they should be in their grade level. So I feel like it's a great practice for them. So once they go to a university or college, they can actually write good emails to their teachers. And often they don't even use their email unless their teacher asks them like, can you check your email or something. But I feel like it's going well.
Great. Thank you for sharing that. We appreciate hearing
Yeah.
your experiences. The good, bad, the ugly, all of it. Thank you. All right.
Can I say one
Yeah,
thing?
go for it.
I'd just like to say that the Southeastern Service Cooperative, Sarah Ness, who is in charge of STEM Forward, which is connecting schools in the region on STEM issues, and Future Forward, which connects students to business people in the region. She just won the Distinguished Educator Award in the entire state of Minnesota. So that's really, we really have some people working on behalf of government entities and schools. And last year, Amy Grover won it. So 2 years in a row, we've got the Distinguished Educator coming out of the Southeastern Service Cooperative. So they're doing some good work for us.
Great.
Thank
And
you.
then, if you don't mind, I wanted to add one more thing else.
Sure.
Also, as I think I mentioned this to Miss Nail on the email too, the thing is sad is that some of the staff take their time in preparing all these lessons and tests and assignments on Schoology, and some of these students don't even complete it, and there's also no excuse on like your Wi-Fi or anything, because Austin High School has really nice staff that will help you. And I mentioned in one of the, I think it's student portal, that if you need any help, the high school will offer it. So, and there's also opportunities for volunteering. So if you have nothing else to do, you can go get Connect, and you can register yourself for volunteering to help out the community.
Great, thank you. All right, we're going to move on with our superintendent's report with Superintendent Krenz.
Thank you, Chair DeBay, members of the school board, Austin community. Just some quick updates here, and then a report. I'm going to add Andrea Malo to give a report, an update on what's happening at the high school too. I'll wait till the end to invite Andrea in. I want to start with our distance learning. As you heard, things are actually going pretty well, and I think it says a lot about our school district, our community, in preparing our students for the future. A lot of districts around us did not have in place what was necessary to move to distance learning. I know as a community, we've discussed the broadband, the fiber to each household. You know, that's still in discussion phase and never got completed. But in terms of providing devices for our students, we're well down that road. And we couldn't have been doing that without the Hormel Foundation and their support, but also our current staff and making things work. I'm looking at our current situation, providing new innovative technologies to make sure that all of our students can get connected. And then our teachers working hard. You know, I talked about last time about the truck driver and that sort of thing. Somebody else described it as building the airplane while you're trying to fly it. And I really can't say enough about that. Our distance learning is going well. And I think the biggest thing is some people out there, and I've heard this, said, well, why do we need buildings now if we've got the distance learning? And well, you heard it from one of our students. Every child is different. And to reach every child, it takes different methods. And believe me, we still need that face-to-face. We still need that opportunity to see that student and to motivate that student, and then to sit beside that student, even though it might be 6 feet away, to help them get through their lessons, to see that intimacy that takes place. So it's a multiple faceted approach. And our staff, I happened to last week be able to listen to some of the staff development that was going on, both on a week ago Friday and on Monday, but then on Wednesday afternoon, the details that our staff are working on, and then go to Woodson. I don't know if anyone else was able to go through the reverse parade where the families and the students were able to drive by and see the joy again of what was happening there, and the teachers being able to see their students, wave to their students, talk to their students, even in that distance learning environment. And I think that's important. The other thing that's important is we're in this situation not by anyone's fault. It is something, it's nature taking its course. We know over the history of mankind. An interesting fact that I was not aware of happened to be, I'm not a historian, but I'm kind of a history buff. But it seems like if you look back over history, 1920, 18s, 20s, we had the Spanish flu. In the 1820s, in that neighborhood, we had a different pandemic. And it seems like we can anticipate something in another 100 years, 2120. So be ready, and we've prepared our students for that because I know most of them will be there at that time. The other thing is we've been working very closely with the governor and with the Department of Ed and another entity that really is driving most of this. And I think we have to remember what their due course is, and that's the Minnesota Department of Health. Their job is to keep the state healthy. And they're driving a lot of the policies that are being made at this point. And we keep asking the Department of Ed, and we keep asking the governor early on. For instance, summer school is going to start in a couple weeks, or should have started in 2 or 3 weeks. We've been asking since day one, since about March 20th, March 25th to be 24th to be exact. When are we going to get the guidelines for summer school? We asked even earlier than that, right away when we went into planning phase, when we're going to get the guidance on graduation. Now we're beginning to ask, and I'm hearing it from others, well, why do you need to know so early? We need to know now what's going to happen in August. So we keep asking the state for that guidance. It's not that the school district or any school district in the state hasn't been prodding our leaders to get that to us. But again, I think there's so much unknown with this health crisis that people don't know what the next, we're starting to open up. Wuhan opened up. Now all of a sudden they're seeing a spike in infections again. We're seeing that in South Korea again. So no one really knows. We're seeing symptoms that we've never seen before. So I caution everyone to think, to listen, and to take care of yourselves as well as your neighbors. That's important. Some things that we've been doing to help support that, obviously, are childcare. Jen Lawhead and her staff have been doing an excellent job supporting our emergency service workers, and on a daily basis are providing free daycare for those instances. Again, we've been working with the Department of Ed to try to open up that system to support our whole community. And hopefully we'll get some direction for our summer to be able to provide those services for the summer. But we don't know, so we're waiting to hear what that guidance will be. And then finally, Don Leathers talked about that earlier, our lunch program. Mary, her staff, our para support staff that are helping, and volunteers in this case. Mary gave me the numbers. You see, I report that daily to the administration and to the school board. But in the month of April, we served over 97,000 meals. Think about that, 97,000 meals. And again, Mary's been working with Lori and the Department of Ed, and in this case, the federal Agriculture Department, on what the guidelines will be for our summer program. All we know is it's extended through June, the current program, but we still don't know what'll happen in July or August. And that leads us to next fall, of course. What's gonna happen in the fall? Folks, we don't know. If you're a betting man, it's 50-50 which way it's gonna go. Most of it's gonna depend on what happens with all that we're seeing in terms of the states that are opening up at this time. A lot of it will depend on, as you see Governor Walz allowing businesses to open up, what kind of infection rate we have at that point and what's going to happen. The thought that our children weren't being affected, we're finding out our children are being affected. And not as a overt manner where you see people who can't breathe and are collapsing. Our children are being infected in a more long-term manner. Heart problems, blood clots, nervous system illnesses that this virus. So it is important that we're protecting our children at the same time. So again, I look to the scientists, I look to our doctors to help guide us. Yes, do I wish we could get that guidance sooner? Yes, all of us do. But again, trying to show patience. And in terms of that patience, we've been very patient in terms of the guidance for a graduation. We were planning for graduation a long time ago. Andrea and her staff did an excellent job preparing, along with a committee of parents, I want to stress that, along with a committee of parents and students to design a graduation in our current state. She did an excellent job preparing that. But we didn't find out until Friday that not a lot of what they planned will not be able to be provided, but a small portion of that. Andrea, again, in consultation with parents this weekend, altered those plans to make sure that our students were getting the best that they could in terms of a graduation ceremony. And I'm going to let Andrea now report on what that ceremony and the process will be. Andrea Mayo.
Thank you, Superintendent Krenz, Chairperson today, members of the board. This has definitely been a unique year for all of us as principals, educators, teachers, and students. And distance learning as a whole has been a learning process. And I'm really proud of the people I work with and all that they've put into really trying to make sure that we've had a positive experience for our kids. I've been working with some parents getting feedback. I've also been getting feedback from students on things that they really wanted to see in a graduation ceremony. And we had a plan in place that would honor the two things that they wanted to see most. One is our students wanted to be able to walk a stage, and secondly, they wanted to be able to gather with their class. We had plans in place to kind of be able to honor both of those things, but with the guidance from MDE on Friday, those plans needed to change. I do have a letter prepared to go with the families, and I plan to send it out tomorrow morning to all of our seniors and their families, and I'd just like to read the letter that I have prepared. It says, "Dear class of 2020 and families, I hope that you are doing well. This is a unique time, and we want you to know that we are thinking about you and keeping you in our thoughts as we plan end of the year activities. One of the big events is graduation. Many of you have heard that the Minnesota Department of Education came out with some guidance for graduation on Friday, May 8th. Unfortunately, the guidance we were given is very restrictive. However, we want you to know that we will find a way to celebrate you and your class in a way that will honor your accomplishments. What will graduation look like? We are still planning the exact details, but here's the preliminary plan. The graduation ceremony. The individual components of the graduation ceremony will be recorded, including speeches, accepting the class, and reading each of the graduates' names. The video will be edited into one ceremony. The plan will be to post the ceremony on graduation day, June 5th, 2020, early in the afternoon, so that graduates and families can watch it in their home. The presentation of diplomas. We plan to present diplomas to students the evening of Friday, June 5th, 2020, between 6 o'clock p.m. and 8 o'clock p.m. Students may choose to dress in their cap and gown, and along with their family, will be invited to drive to the parking lot on the east side of Austin High School, just as they did for cap and gown distribution. When students reach the tent, the diploma will be presented to the students. Public celebration. We know that graduation is something that is celebrated by our community. We have been working with our community partner, Hormel Foods. Banners have been donated that will be hung at Westcott Field the week of and after graduation. Class of 2020 reunion event. We know that one thing the students really want is an opportunity to be together as a class. We are working to plan a reunion event for our 2020 graduates to gather during the next school year. The date is yet to be determined, but we are looking at hosting it during a home athletic event, which will include an opportunity for a class photo, re-entry into the event, special seating for the class of 2020, and a public recognition of the class at halftime where they can toss their caps in the air. We are in the planning stages of these events and will be sending out additional information with specific information as we get closer to graduation day. Please know that we want to celebrate you as graduates, and we want you to have a special time to recognize all that you have accomplished. Respectfully, Andrew Malo. And so really wanting to make sure that our kids can have a special time. You know, during the school year, this is the one event that we look forward to each year. That's really a capstone for all we do for our kids. We know that our families have been dreaming about this moment since they were little kids, their first day of kindergarten. And our families, our kids deserve this time to be recognized. And we're hoping that this plan will really put into place those key important components of graduation for them. But I have.
Well, some of the considerations that we had, you know, as Andrea said, were to bring the students in groups into the building. That was pretty much shut down. I know other districts were planning the same thing. The biggest thing is, I know a lot of districts had already promoted or distributed their plans and were really shot down rather quickly on Friday. It wasn't that our plan wasn't there, it was just, we were asked by the Department of Ed to wait until they gave us the guidance. We determined that was the best route to go, rather than try to switch at the end. We looked at the guidance that we had received of that, felt good about our previous plan, made this minor adjustments. We're still bringing students through, which wasn't necessarily their highest suggestion, but it's still okay to bring people through in family units in their car to a location. So Thank you, Andrea. Thank you to everyone who worked on this. Any questions for Andrea or me?
That was a very special letter, Andrea. We're all very proud of you and the work you're doing. Thanks.
Thank you. We really want it to be a great event for our kids, and we just know that there's not a perfect situation here, but they deserve their moment.
Yeah, I think everybody here would agree that this has been a really tough piece. It's so emotional. There's a lot of feelings and, just lifelong memories that are tied to this one particular event. And oh geez, I'm gonna start crying. I don't even have a senior graduating, but I know that this is a big deal, and I know that this is far from perfect. I'm so thankful that we have a staff and an administration and a community that loves our graduates and loves our seniors and wants the best for them. We all know that if it was a perfect world, we would all be at Knowlton Auditorium watching everybody cross the stage. But my hope is that in that day, even if we're not all together at the same time, we can be cheering each other on from wherever we're at within the community. I could probably go on forever about my opinion about this, my feelings about this. It's very frustrating to get last minute information that seems to be one size fits all, when we know that Minnesota is not one size fits all. But I am very thankful for the work that you and your team have done. I'm really glad to hear that it included the voices of parents and students. I know that I know it's not perfect, and I know it can't possibly replace what could have been, but I'm so excited to see this come to fruition. That's what I got.
Andrea, I just want to thank you, because I know you've carried the weight of a lot of this for everyone, and you are the mouthpiece of the high school. And I know that it is weighed heavily on you trying to make this as special as possible. I hope you can hear me. My yelling isn't that I'm yelling at you. I'm trying to thank you. As a senior parent, I'm trying to think of questions that other parents might have so that you could maybe address those now, because I know a lot of senior parents are watching, kind of hoping to hear some information. And I think you've answered a lot of those questions. I know that one question might be regarding prom. If there's anything, any plan, any thought considering allowing class of 2020 graduates to participate in any kind of a prom scenario over, and I know that's a really hard question to answer right now, but I'm trying to save you from getting inundated with more questions and emails, and trying to think of, that's a common question I've heard, and so if you could just address that.
Yeah, we've had some conversations around prom, and actually I was working with our activities director last week. It seems like some of my best ideas come when I can't sleep, because when I'm waking up in my Zoom meeting dreams, this is where the ideas come. But we talked about doing something with a virtual prom as an opportunity for our kids. Graduates can always be invited back to prom the following year as guests of a current student, so there's some possibilities that way. There could be the possibility of tying something to the event, the reunion event that we're trying to plan for our students. Right now it's really hard to determine what all those different factors will be, especially as we don't know what the future holds exactly for us right now, and what does it mean a year from now, what does it mean 2 years from now. So we'll continue to think about what those possibilities might be. Right now we're really just trying to focus on graduation at that main kind of point, and making sure that our students can finish the year strong. But we have thought a little bit about prom and what some other opportunities may be for them.
Okay.
So it's not a perfect answer, but it's kind of an answer.
Oh, no, there's really nothing that's perfect about any of this, the last 2 months. So, but thank you again, just for, just your thoughtfulness and I know that you truly care about the class of 2020 and the entire high school, and you care about these students personally, not just professionally, and just thank you.
They're my kids. I spend a lot of time with them here in the building, and they're my kids. I care a lot about them, and that's why I do what I do each day, and it's for them to make sure they get what they need, and hopefully we can have a great celebration here for them.
Thank you, Andrea, we really appreciate it.
That's my report.
That's it?
Yep.
Okay.
Can I ask you a question, David?
Sure.
Is there ever an instance this year where a student who's probably a pretty good student doesn't have a device like this and they borrowed it from the school? Or does everybody have a device? You know what I'm saying?
Well, everybody in grades 5 through 12 have a device. Alternative school or co-op students and every student in. Now, some of those families chose not to allow their students to take them home, but during this crisis, they did do that. Then in our elementary level, if there is a need at any time, we did allow students to borrow iPads or laptops if they needed. But most of our elementary curriculum was delivered in packets, and that's why we had 3 packet pickup days for those students. So there should have been no opportunity lost for them to be able to do that. The other thing, and this is a great question, Don, the other thing that's important is we worked with the city library and Ormel Foundation to write a grant to provide extra hotspots. I think it was over $30,000. They bought extra hotspots that those families that didn't have access to the internet would get a hotspot for the time being during the duration and be able to connect. That seems to be the biggest limitation. Isn't necessarily the device, it's those connections that they can make to the internet. But again, all of our students now who've wanted to can get online. It's interesting, as long as you gave me more time, I'm gonna take it. During our meetings, and we meet regularly with the principals, we meet regularly with MDE, the governor's office, etc. But with our principals, what we're finding is something that was pointed out earlier, that some of our students are thriving in this environment that didn't succeed before. And on the other hand, some of our most successful students are struggling in this environment. So again, going back to this, it can't be a one size fits all, going back to graduation. I think we need to take that, and we're keeping a list on of all we're calling them distance learnings. And principals, staff are adding to that. I know Jessica at Ellis has had her staff reflect on what they've learned and how that can be incorporated when we do get back to somewhat normal. I know other principals are doing the same thing, and I know as a district we're doing that. So we're using this, not just, oh, let's get through it, but what can we take advantage of here to get better, to be better servants to our educational community, and to provide more for our students and families.
Well, I've said it before, I'll say it again, Dave, you're working harder than ever.
It sounds funny. I had a long list of things I was hoping to get accomplished. It's gone the other way, so thanks, Don.
One of the huge things, though, that we can talk about this sort of operation, but kids, adults have to learn to socialize, and via this type of education, which we can't help, they get very little of that. And this is where your activities and things, of course, come in too. the social aspect of this, getting along with other people, being able to get along, to adjust to other people. And this is something that I think we should also emphasize, is the fact that we are missing a big area in their lives that they should be developing at this stage in time.
Very good point, Dick, and we talk about that on a daily basis, not only with each other, but with our families, with our students. That social emotional side of it, and that's critical. And we've been talking to MDE about that. What kind of supports can you give us for our kids in this environment? Then later, when we do start bringing the kids back, what kind of supports can we give them as they reacclimate to that sort of system? You're absolutely right. That's been our biggest worry. The academic side of it, we can deliver the curriculum, we can get that to them, but it's that side of it that if you see struggles, that's where a lot of our struggles are coming from.
I used to do surveys in my class, Dick, and I'd say, what do you like most about school? And invariably at the top was, I like being with my friends and classmates.
I thought they'd say Don Leathers.
That was at the bottom.
Well started.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and move on, if
Sure.
that's okay
Yes.
with everybody. All right, we're gonna move to our consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we're going to do a roll call vote.
It was a three-way tie.
Yeah. Dubay,
Yes.
Fox,
Yes.
Getz,
Yes.
Leathers,
Aye.
Lees,
Yeah.
Young,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
All right, motion passes for the consent agenda. Thank you. Next, we're going to move into efficient and effective operations. We've got Lori Boltz joining us, our Executive Director of Finance and Operations. We're going to start with the request approval of donations.
Madam Chair Dubay, Superintendent Krenz, members of the board, reconsideration of accepting donations through May 11th. Listing of them, Sonic Health and Corporation of Rochester donated office furniture valued at $6,035 for Fawcett Public Schools for use where needed. I believe most of it is being used at the high school. There's anonymous donation of $500 for Southgate Elementary for classroom needs. Hormel employee match, Kiara Lilly, $50 for girls basketball. Hormel employee match, Greg Baskin, $300 for a step up program. Westminster Presbyterian Church, $100 for a food service lunch tray program to assist families in need, and Northwestern Singers, $510. Ellis 8th grade choir for expenses, and then other smaller donations as well.
Could you refresh my memory on what the step-up program is? Or can I-
The Step Up program is where our local businesses hire students for summer internships and work with them, and it's those are paid positions. So we've expanded that over the years from, basically one employer with 7 positions to multiple employers with dozens of positions. I don't know how that's gonna work this summer as well, but it's been a great program. And it really has impacted some of our students in terms of looking at what their future careers may look like.
I didn't mean to stop you.
Can I get a motion to approve the donations?
So moved.
Second.
All right. Any discussion?
Well, I'd just like to thank the people of Austin who make these donations because they're very well received and they help out where needed. So thank you very much, Austin.
Great. Can we do a roll call vote, please?
Dubay,
Yes.
Fox,
Yes.
Getz,
Yes.
Leathers,
Aye.
Lees.
Here.
Young,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
All
I
right.
don't get to say aye very often, so.
Motion passes for the donations. Next, we're going to move on to the request for approval of the audit engagement agreement for 2019-2020 audit.
Madam Chair DeBay, Superintendent Krenz, board members, for consideration, the approval of the audit agreement. This is with Clifton Larson Allen, who has been our auditor for many years. And just to clarify, the services fee for the audit is at a very similar level as in the past, $27,800. It will be this plus tech fees of 5%. And so the two together would reflect basically the same amount as what we paid in last year's service fee for audit work.
Can I get a motion to approve the audit engagement agreement for the 2019-2020 audit?
So moved, Kathy.
Second.
Any discussion? We'll do roll
Second.
call. What's that?
Second.
Peggy just
Second? Okay, thanks Peggy.
I'll defer to Peggy.
All right, Sharon, can we do a roll call vote?
Dubay,
Yes.
Fox,
Yes.
Getz,
Yes.
Leathers,
Yes.
Lees.
Yep.
Young.
Yep.
Green.
Yes.
All right, motion passes for the approval of the audit engagement agreement for the 2019-2020 audit. Thank you. Next, we're going to hear a review of school board member benefits.
Madam Chair DeBay, Superintendent Krenz, board members, for your consideration, just as a reminder, back in 2009, the district had grandfathered in health insurance for a couple board members, one being Don Fox. And Don Fox has made a request that if he proceeds with resigning from the board, that he would request continued coverage for health insurance. He's currently on family health insurance. And what is being proposed for the board to consider is actually a Medicare supplemental plan for a point in time when Don would resign from the board up through what his term would have been. His term currently is slated to end December 31st, 2022. So with this scenario, it actually would save the district money to have payment be on a Medicare supplemental plan rather than the district's regular health plan. And so in summary, that is what is being requested.
The district would save approximately 20+ thousand, would they not?
They would, it would actually be a cost savings where it would be, we'd be paying about a third of what we're currently paying. So the cost savings would be approximately 17,000 a year, roughly,
Per person,
in grand total.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, for the two. Yep.
And when does this go into effect?
This would go in effect at the date of his resignation.
December 31st, wouldn't it?
So if his resignation date was November 2nd, so then the Medicare supplemental plan would be aligned with that going forward through December 31st, 2022.
All right, can I get a motion to approve the request for proposed insurance plan?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any further discussion? All right, if not, we will move to a roll call vote.
Will you frame the question for us, please?
This is the approval of the proposed insurance request.
So in other words, what you're saying is Don would like the district to pay us Medicare supplemental. The alternative is he pays it for his wife and himself out of his own pocket. Is that correct?
So if, of course, if he stays on the board, of course, he'll stay on the family plan, that's the district plan. If he were to resign without this language, then his coverage on the family health insurance is through the time he's serving a term. So in the absence of this new proposal, he would have to go off the plan. The district wouldn't be paying for it if he ended his term, unless the board approves such a measure as that is being proposed.
Thank you.
Are we ready for a roll call vote? Sharon?
Dubay,
Yes?
Getz,
Yes.
Leathers,
Yes?
Lees,
Yes, whoop,
Young,
Yes.
Green,
yes,
Green.
Abstain.
Okay. Did you wanna abstain too, Don?
No, would you like to abstain? So that is 5 votes yes to abstain, and the motion passes for the proposed insurance request. Alright.
So Don's name would be, or not, well, not Don's name. There would be an open spot for school board election this coming fall for a 2-year term
If
versus a 4-year term.
If he were to resign,
If he were to resign, which by all indications of this, that's, sounds like the plan. Okay,
we would need to accept a resignation and then vote to include that space in that, on that ballot.
on the ballot.
As a 2-year term.
Okay. That makes sense.
when is the date that you have to commit? I'm speaking for myself, well, no, I'm gonna be gone anyway.
You just will
But-
file.
You can hope,
The filing deadline is July,
I wanna say 14th, I'd have to.
something like that.
exactly.
Sometime
that's
in July.
very early, I've always thought, okay,
And Sharon and I have been talking about the class, I shouldn't say class, the
Kind of a workshop.
workshop that we have for prospective board members. We're trying to look, what would that look like in
Oh my.
this era? Normally, we invite people in, we get a few people, we go through, the board chair sits in, we talk about, responsibilities and duties of a school board member are, and then encourage people to apply. So we're looking at the end of June, first part of July. Anyone that would want to, not be on that was up, just would not, file for the position. But in this case, we need to know by that July time to get it on, if there would be a resignation, to get that through to the, county, put on the, ballot and all that stuff for early canvassing. So there will be 3 4-year term openings, and then possibly a 2-year opening.
Alright. Moving forward, we're going to move on to the request for the approval of the 2020, 2021 lunch prices.
Madam Chair Dubay, Superintendent Krenz, members of the board, reconsideration are setting the lunch prices for the 2021 school year. Just want to point out that, our food service program is through the National Schools Lunch Program. It's a federal program, and, it's key to know that because we have this federal program, we have free and reduced priced lunches available to economically disadvantaged students. And, but there is a parent pay component for those students that pay the regular price and are not free and reduced price students. And there's a requirement from the USDA that we, like Mary, run a calculator, and it determines if we have to raise our lunch prices. And that calculator shows that we must raise our lunch prices by 10 cents at all levels, so it's not a choice that we have. We must do it in order to be participating in the federal lunch program. So I recommend approval on that, as Mary has laid out.
So you're kind of forced to do this by the USDA?
Yeah.
What kind of nonsense is that?
It is, it has to do with what the cost of the meal is compared to what the state aids and the federal aids come in for that lunch. And so that is why they have that calculator.
Don, this is Kathy.
Yeah.
It's kind of an annual thing. We have a very healthy balance in
Yeah.
our food fund. And so for our particular district to have to raise lunch prices on a lot of middle, income families, it's a hardship. And it's one of those legislative statute things that for our particular district doesn't make a lot of sense. But
Well, Kathy, if you remember last autumn, we passed a resolution unanimously calling for local control. And this is the antithesis of local control, correct?
that's right.
Okay, I just wanted to, because I agreed with her that we keep getting these reports that the lunch is in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
Lunch
Yeah,
amount.
right? It's just if we wanna participate in the federal program and get all the extra funding for the free reduced meals, this is the process we have to.
Mary's done, through the last few years, and when she started, a really good job.
Oh,
Outstanding.
Yes.
She's excellent.
Where do the dollars come? Now, we have maybe close to 50% of students on free and reduced lunch. Where do those dollars come from?
So that, yeah, it's slightly over 50% of our free and reduced price students. And so the federal government actually then pays through the state of Minnesota those funds that are federal meals. So
So
that's your question?
Yeah, so I guess we can be okay with that, so it raises.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
And that's the biggest thing, it is confusing, we get more from the federal government, this isn't a state program. But it does, as Kathy pointed out, put more of a burden on those families who are just outside that qualifying range. And that's why you see the great program that Mary set up, to have people donate to help support those families when they do fall behind. So you've seen in the last couple of years, organizations, Overby, Dental, and then Hormel this year, who came in and paid, as well as many, many individuals who've helped support that program.
I imagine there's quite a few kind of steps with that where you have to have so many children and so much income in order to qualify. I can see where that, okay.
It's really been confusing. Is it okay if I?
Go for it.
Okay, it's really been confusing during this coronavirus deck too, because those of us who qualify, and you have to have a certain percentage of your students who qualify for free and reduced to automatically be able to serve summer free lunches. We are in that category because we have almost 60% of our students who qualify. But a lot of the districts don't have that. And if you're under that amount, I think it's 51% or something like that, then you have to get special permission and that sort of thing. So it's been a lot of confusion out there by a lot of districts on, do I have to apply? Do I get the support? Will the support continue? Well, in our case, Mary's worked very, very hard to make sure we're streamlined through that, but other districts are really struggling in this time to make sure that they get that federal reimbursement across the board and not just in districts in our situation.
Now, Mary kind of pushes that area then, because, yeah. Okay.
During our registration, our communications with families, making sure that those who qualify get the paperwork in, and making sure that they're getting what they deserve. Because as Don pointed out, we're paying taxes. And Minnesota, I think was pointed out by Governor Walz, is 47th out of the nation in terms of federal taxes that come back to the state. That's pretty darn low. Well, free and reduced would be one of those situations where it's our taxes going to Washington, how do we get those back? So we need to encourage our people, if they qualify, to fill that out, to bring those tax dollars back to Minnesota.
Doesn't Overview Orthodontics and Hormel, don't they pay the unpaid balance of people who are getting a $2.50 meal? That's pretty good.
Right, they did last year, and then this year it was Hormel that picked up that cost. So it's really, the community's really stepped up. And then a lot of individuals, Don, it's called the lunch tray program that Mary set up. And you'll see, during the gifts, side that Lori will say so-and-so donated to the gifts, the lunch tray program, yeah.
Thanks.
All right, can I get a motion to approve the 2021 lunch prices?
So move.
Can I get a second? Thanks, Peggy. Is there-
Yes.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Can I get a roll call vote, Sharon?
Dubay,
Yes.
Fox.
Yes.
Getz,
Yes.
Leathers,
Aye.
Lees,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
All right, motion passes for the 2020-2021 lunch prices. So that's gonna be a mouthful for the next year. I don't know.
Thanks, Lori.
Thank you, Lori. All right. We're going to move forward onto our high student achievement segment, beginning with the overview of changes to the Alternative Learning Center for the 2020-2021 school year with ALC Director Matt Schmidt.
Chair Debate, Superintendent Krenz, members of the board, thank you for having me. We've been trying to get on the agenda for some time, but with all of the changes, it's just not been possible. The ALC and its staff have gone through a number of changes over the last couple of years and wanted to let you know what those were and what changes they were looking to make in the future. Going back a few years ago, our credit recovery program was offered after school. There were 3 sessions during the year, and there were 2 sessions during the summer. And one of the things that we've done is we've changed that, and now we have credit recovery online programming every single day that we have school. We have it after school like we did before, but we also are offering credit recovery 7:55 to 3 o'clock also. So every single day, 7:55 to 6, we have that staff where students can get in and earn credit. We're still offering our 6 weeks of summer school. And we made that change a couple of years ago. Last year, there were 900 credits, courses earned by students at AHS. 31% of all graduates that walked the stage last year took at least one course in the ALC. And at any given time, we have 300 students taking at least one course in our ALC. Now, going back 3 years ago, the ALC was thought of as a place where troubled students went. And the staff there have done a real nice job talking to students, talking to parents, and saying an alternative learning center is just alternative. It's where a student needs something different. And that mentality has shifted. We have students with GPAs that are very low, and we have students with 4.0 GPAs that are taking courses in the ALC now. And as I said, 31% of our graduating class is taking at least one course with us. We developed a math program a couple of years ago. Math was an area where students struggled. Our math teacher has done an excellent job changing the mentality of those students. Those students come in and say, I am a bad math student, and they walk out having success. And this past semester, there was 176 courses completed by students, and the passing rate is 87%. Now, these are students that were not successful before in math. Most of them had failed the course prior to this, and now we're finding 87% using the same standards, same examinations, but changing that mentality of that student and giving them a little extra support. This past year, David has done a nice job with this, along with several other members. We've applied and been accepted to the early middle college program. That is going to allow any student in the ALC easier access to college courses. And this past year, we've piloted an online program, which has worked perfectly for us. as now we are completely online and we felt like we were ready for that. And what we would like to consider moving forward for next year is applying for an online license. So I just wanted to give a shout out to the board staff members that are working there. They just put their heads down and continue to work. And I know several years ago, they were asked to look at the way they do things and to also look at the graduation rates and to see what things that they could do. And Gabe Nelson, Ann Bowman, Eliza Kelly, and Nicole Fuller have done an excellent job marketing the ALC, reaching out, identifying students, and working with them. And like I said, this year, 900 courses earned in the ALC with those 4 staff members. Just very proud of them. And that is my report. Thank you.
That is really quite a change, is it not? The success that this program has done, it's been really something else with the ALC. That's had problems, as far as I know, for several years. It sounds like it's giving these students a path to get out, and it's working.
It is. The staff there really changed the mentality. There are very few discipline issues that happened in our ALC. Students are there to finish their work and to get things done. It's been great.
Matt, the one thing that I've noticed that the distance learning thing that we've been going through, and I think I'm just echoing what you just said with your hopes of obtaining an online learning license. I think that just underlines the fact that we have students who are learning in many different ways and they thrive in different environments. And if you can help those students who are their learning is more effective in an online setting, I think that's wonderful, and I'm excited to see where the ALC goes from here.
Thank you. To your point, identifying students that not only struggle, but students that do well in school normally, but would benefit from an online class or perhaps learn better in an online course. So opening that up to all students.
Yeah. Thank you for the update.
You're
I
welcome.
do have one question. I just want to make sure that I'm understanding things correctly. First of all, I'd like to commend you on the work. Obviously, something's working and it's working very well. Nice job. You mentioned that you're going to apply for an online license. I'm assuming that that would become an optional delivery mode beyond the situation that we're in right now. Would that be a permanent mode of delivery for an option for our students?
Sure. So if we do apply and are accepted, there will be a separate school in Austin that will provide online learning. So one would still need to apply to be in that particular school. And then that student would be able to take an online course.
Peggy, that was an excellent question, and that bodes to, all the loopholes we had to walk through this year to go online, because state statutes tells us that unless you walk through a lot of requirements to become an online school district, you cannot deliver online instruction, period. So the legislature and the governor had to take special action to allow every district in the state to provide online instruction. What Matt is talking about then is going through those, and he's done the majority of the work along with his staff to make that happen on an ongoing basis. Because it's one of those things, as we can see, we're learning systemically that this makes a difference in how our students learn and how they achieve.
Is the online done at home or is it done in school?
Matt?
So, like I said, this past year we piloted that program, and we really tailored the program to the student's needs. We have some students that came in for 1 hour a week and that was enough for them. And we had some students that spent several hours every single day here because they needed that support. And our teachers have a calendar that students have access for, and they can sign themselves up on that calendar and come in and get as much or as little help as they need to complete the course. We're available, as I said, 7:55 to 6, or a student could come in anytime.
So most of that's done right here in the school?
That's correct.
Alright. Thank you, Matt, we appreciate that update, that sounded great.
Thank you.
Alright, we're going to move to our next agenda item, which is a request for the approval of changes to the 2020-2021 elementary parent handbook with our Sumner principal Sheila Berger.
Good afternoon, Chairperson Dubé, Superintendent Krenz, members of the board. Today you should have a handout in your board packet that just highlights the things that needed to be updated in our elementary school handbook for the upcoming school year. Several of those things had to do with the times of the buildings, switching just a little bit at the elementary, and then our use of a flexible learning day during inclement weather in the winter. We did not have that in our handbook previously. And then just a simple change from the Minnesota Department of Health about how we handle students who are at school with a possible eye infection. So those are all the changes that needed to happen to get our handbook current, and so I would request your approval.
Can I get a motion to approve the changes to the 2020-2021 elementary parent handbook?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any further discussion needed? Hearing none, we will move to a roll call vote. Sharon?
Dubé,
Yes.
Fox,
Yes.
Getz,
Yes.
Leathers,
Yes.
Lees,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
All right, motion passes for the changes to the 2020-2021 elementary parent handbook.
Sheila also asked if she could provide an update on how things are going with the distance learning. Sheila?
That'd be great.
Okay, so I'm representing all of the pre-K4 principals. We just wanted to let you know that all buildings have had their final distribution of distance learning materials. That was last Monday, May 4th. Staff and students continue to navigate distance learning on a day-to-day basis. Some positives that have come from this time are we've increased the use of family access to Seesaw. We've increased opportunities for staff to be able to check in one-on-one with their students and families, which has grown relationships in a manner that maybe sometimes can't take place when you're in a classroom with 25 students. We've increased the collaboration between the elementary building leadership team. I have talked to my colleagues more this spring than I think maybe all year. Even though we do keep in close contact, this has been almost a day-by-day, sometimes morning and afternoon contact between all of us, which has been really nice. And just a willingness of staff to do whatever is necessary to support students and their specific needs. I've had a couple of members go to a front step to help the family access Seesaw because they just couldn't get it to happen via the phone or Zoom or whatever. So the staff at all buildings has just been outstanding. Challenges that we continue to face is just not all students having the same access to opportunities for learning, and then some of the responsibilities that our students have caring for their younger siblings makes attending virtually to school very complicated. And so we just wanted to share that with you and kind of let you know what things look like from the elementary perspective. Thank you.
Thank you for that update. I know I appreciate it as a parent of an elementary student. Those teachers just go above and beyond. It's just incredible. I know my daughter's teacher meets with her individually half an hour one-on-one, and it's been fantastic. all the instructions have always been so clear and well organized. I'm always amazed every time we've gone for the pickups for the materials. Everybody's just so organized, and it's really been fun to watch it from where I'm sitting as a parent. So I know that that might not be everybody's experience, but I just really appreciate how much the teachers are just doing everything they can and how much they love those kids. Anybody else have any thoughts or comments on that?
Thanks, Sheila.
Yes, thank you, Sheila. All right, our next item is the 2019-2020 Athletics and Activities Report with Activities Director Lisa Quedno.
Chairperson Dubé, Superintendent Krenz, and members of the board, thank you for allowing me some time to share my report. I'm just trying to share my screen here so you can see some of the highlights I have. Sorry, not 100% great with this. So you guys let me know if you can see it.
That's why I'm here.
I think I got it.
Not yet.
Okay, let me try it again. Let me put that on there.
They must be together.
They must be in the same
Sorry.
spot.
It's okay.
All right, well, I guess I can just talk about it without sharing the actual document. I can share the document with David
Okay, I'll forward it.
after the fact. Okay. Well, this year has been an exciting and interesting year in activities. Needless to say, we had some great highlights this fall. First, starting off with our boys soccer qualifying for the state tournament for the third year in a row. They did, however, lose a heartbreaking overtime game to St. Cloud Tech, which was, if you were there, an exciting game and well played by both teams, and really fun to see two teams that were really a lot alike in a lot of different aspects. And then on to our winter season, we had a lot of success in girls dance again, qualifying for high kick and jazz. Coach Kayla Sellers was named our AA State Dance Coach of the Year for the entire state. And she has really done a phenomenal job with our program and our kids. And it was fun to see her recognized by her peers for all of those great accomplishments. Claire Raymond qualified for the state gymnastics meet. And then we had a phenomenal senior season with some of our boys swimmers and our diver. Diver Riley Norton finished 6th at the state diving meet and was a little lower at the beginning of the final day and really had a great job coming in and doing some great dives to make him finish 6th. We had a boys swim medley relay team of Ray Gilmer Peterson, Logan Kelly, Trey Myers, and Aaron Knoll, who finished 2nd at the state meet, and really had a phenomenal season. That relay team finished so well all season long. Logan Kelly finished 4th in the 200 individual relay and was also an All-American his senior year and really had a phenomenal senior year. Our boys were coached by Coach Ryan Kelly, who had an outstanding year representing Austin High School. They set many pool and school records as they qualified for 9 total events at the state tournament. And then unfortunately, our winter season was cut a little shorter than we were hoping for. Our boys basketball team was on to a great season and was cut short due to shutdown of the section tournament at that point in time. And then the state of our spring was very disappointing for our senior, especially our senior sport athletes. Many of our spring coaches are working really hard to connect with them virtually, trying to continue to provide them workouts and support for the kids. Because as we know, those coaches and advisors really have some of the best relationships with our kids. And I know our coaches were really disappointed not to get to work with our kids this spring. We are actually working, Ryan Mears is working on a spring sport salute slideshow for our seniors who didn't get to have those senior days, and those families. So we're excited to see that part of it as well. Participation numbers were very good, very consistent with last year. Our total was 585 participants unduplicated. That's about 40% of our enrollment. We were actually down one participant from last year, but we didn't have all of our boys tennis kids signed up yet because they hadn't started their spring season yet. So we are really happy with our participation. We'd always love more participation, but I think we're doing a great job. My coaches are doing a great job with that. Some activities highlights this year. Our clay target team is, of course, always doing well, and this year had 95 student participants. They have a very successful fall season. Unfortunately, their spring season was also cut short due to the coronavirus. FFA had a fantastic year in their various judging and leadership events. We continue to lead in this area and are recognized nationally, and our kids have been getting some great experiences with FFA. We will be looking for a new FFA advisor this fall, as our advisor has taken a new position in a different district, but it's an exciting program and some really great kids with some great leadership skills. We did add speech back to our list of activities and offerings this year. We had 14 students participate in this program this year, and our advisors, Joy Crutchman-Grande and Dan Hansen, did a great job of leading and growing interest in this activity, and we're looking forward to continuing that next year. I would like to take a moment just to recognize one of our advisors who's probably in the room there. Sharon Alms has been our National Honor Society advisor for a long time. I didn't ask, but I know it's been a very long time. She will be stepping down from this role beginning in the fall. And Sharon, I just wanted to recognize you and thank you for all of your work with this program and with so many students over the years. So thank you, Sharon. Some highlight events that I just wanted to touch on. Austin Public Schools was fortunate to be chosen to host some exciting events in our community. We hosted the Section 1A 9-man football finals, as well as the first round of the 9-man football state tournament. Mr. Beasley and our buildings and grounds crew did a fantastic job of getting our facilities ready. If you remember the state tournament, we did have snow right before that event. And the expectation was that we could see the field, and I just want to say, Brian, I know he was out there along with his crew getting that field ready, and so many people in the state were so impressed with our facility and all of the people that helped with our events. So that was a really nice highlight of the Westcott Sports Complex. We also got to host Big 9 Gymnastics this year, and again, a big thank you to Brian and his custodial staff, especially Cliff Walschlager, who is our custodian here at Austin High School. It was a nice highlight of our building here as well. So we're very fortunate to have people who help with our events and highlight Austin Public Schools as well as we do. I wanted to give you just a short Minnesota State High School League update. We're currently working with the High School League to continue efforts in the Why We Play initiative. They have been doing quite a few online Zoom things with coaches as well as myself, and providing information that coaches can use during this time. We are also looking to the league, as David talked about before, with some guidance to share expectations for the summer. We are hoping that the league will give us some more guidance. We have a league meeting this week, and obviously we'll be taking that from Governor Walz and MDE and the Minnesota Department of Health. My coaches are very eager to see their kids again and give them opportunities to practice and participate, but we want to make sure we're falling within the guidelines of what's expected. So we are waiting for those guidelines at this point. That is my update, and I would for sure entertain any questions. Thanks for your patience.
Lisa, you mentioned the 500 plus involved in athletics. Do you have a number for those that were involved in activities?
I do. Let me just pull it up, and I will send this to Sharon. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I will send my presentation to Sharon as well, so she can send it out to the board members as well. Let me just go back to that and I will grab it for you.
Was it 40%, 585 out?
That was sports.
You know what, I don't have it right on there. I will get it for you and we can send it out.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Lisa, this is Angie. I was also wondering, do you have a number of FFA students that participate in?
The number of FFA students?
Yeah.
Yeah, 23 high school students at this point were registered this year to participate.
Okay.
This is Carolyn, it's really fun to hear
And they're a
those.
very active group. They do things, you know, throughout the summer and all school year. So we're going to be looking for that pretty quickly. We're not sure what obviously summer's gonna look like, but we wanna get them connected as soon as we can.
Great, this is Carolyn. I also want to say, it's really fun to hear the numbers for students participating in the clay target and the skeet shooting.
I'm sorry, Karen, I missed that. The numbers.
The numbers for the clay target team,
Yep, 95.
that's incredible. That
Yeah, it,
is awesome.
yeah, it is our largest activity, by far. And it's been such a good opportunity for our kids to participate. And I'm not sure if you know Gus, is our coach, Gus Maxfield and Sue Thorpe. They do such a great job with our kids and they're very committed to that program and really the kids love that connection they have with them.
Thank you for that.
How about the bow and arrow? Did that ever get going?
Yeah, we do have an archery club and they compete in February and March and then through a little bit through April, and we have about 26 kids that are involved in that. They actually participate in that at runnings.
Yeah.
Who coaches that team, Lisa? Don Leathers?
And Maxfield is Gus's, I think they're husband and wife, so she does that part of it. And her son Bob is very involved in that.
Thanks.
All right, we're gonna move us forward. We're gonna stick with Lisa Quedno, and we're going to
I'm
have the
sorry, I
request.
missed that. What's that?
We're gonna stick with you, Lisa, and we're going
Okay,
to move into the request for the approval of the athletic cooperative agreement with Southland High School for boys hockey.
So let me clarify this a little bit as the Minnesota State High School League is actually in the process of changing their co-op process. So first we need to request a dissolution of the current co-op we have with Austin Pacelli. And then we would need to ask for your approval to reapply for the co-op with Austin Pacelli, Austin High School, and Southland Public Schools.
Okay, do you wanna speak to those points before we try to vote? Anything else to
I'm
say?
sorry, I'm having a hard time hearing Carolyn.
Do you have anything else you wanna say?
We have one person that has their mic unmuted, I think, and that's what's happening.
Oh, yep.
Great.
And I think there's a sewing machine going on.
Lisa, do you have any other points to speak to regarding regarding this cooperative agreement?
I can talk a little bit about the process, and so we will be applying to the Minnesota State High School League. We did have to get approval from the Big Nine as well as the section, and I have letters from both of those two agencies approving this. Once we get our board approval, we would also probably need Southland's board approval. I know I had talked to Jean McDermott and she is on board. We would just need signatures from those board approvals to send it forward for an application to the high school league. Once we hear back from the high school league, I'd work with Lori, which I've already been working with Lori and David on our co-op agreement. And then that would be given to both of those schools again.
So what we're looking,
Right now, Southland students participated in Austin youth hockey, quite a bit in the past. And at this point, our numbers are not as strong as we would like them to be in boys hockey. And those kids, this would be a natural place for them to participate with the students that they've been participating with since youth hockey. Making the caveat known that if this would move us up to a larger class, we would have to reevaluate what that looked like for our programs, but.
So what we need is a motion to dissolve our co-op with Austin Pacelli at this meeting, correct?
We need that motion first, and then we need a motion to, yes, we should do that one first.
Okay.
All right,
Lisa, in your dissolution letter, this is Don Leathers, you said there was one Pacelli hockey player with some Pacelli kids in youth hockey. How many students is Southland going to contribute to the co-op hockey players?
Currently, Southland has, what I'm being told, is one eighth grader, one ninth grader who chose not to play with us this year because he was still Bantam eligible, and then they have quite a few in the next level down, so I would say 5th through 7th grade, they have quite a few Southland hockey players, probably 4 to 5 boys.
Whose responsibility is to have these kids get up to the arena or for the bus to go to out-of-town games?
That's all actually spelled out in our co-op agreement. It is the school district's responsibility to have them transported to the appropriate places, not our school district, their school district.
Okay, thanks, Lisa.
so can I get a motion for the dissolution of the current athletic cooperative agreement with Austin Pacelli for boys high school?
So
For
moved.
boys hockey, sorry.
Second.
So I've got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on the dissolution? Hearing none, we will move to a roll call vote.
Dubay,
Yes.
Fox,
Yes.
Getz,
Yes.
Leathers,
Yes.
Lees,
Yeah.
Young,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
All right. The motion for the dissolution of the athletic cooperative agreement with Pacelli High School for boys hockey has been approved. So now we have, I need a motion for the approval of the athletic cooperative agreement with both Southland High School and Austin Pacelli for boys hockey.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Nope. Okay, we'll do a roll call vote.
Dubay,
Yes.
Fox,
Yes.
Getz,
Yes.
Leathers,
Yes.
Lees,
Yeah.
Young,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
All right, motion passes for the approval of the athletic cooperative agreement with both Austin Pacelli and Southland High School for boys hockey. And next we have a request for the approval of the Minnesota State High School League membership renewal for the 2020-2021 school year, also with Lisa Quednow.
Thank you, Chairperson Dubay, Superintendent, friends, and members of the board. This is our annual application to the Minnesota State High School League that we would like to be a part of them and renew our membership. So I would just need your approval.
All right, can I get a motion to approve the Minnesota State High School League membership renewal for 2020-2021?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion?
If Southland is going to provide 5th and 7th graders, do we have a unit that they would even fit into?
No, at this point, boys hockey, they don't start participating typically at the high school level until 10th grade. But in foreseeing, we do have somebody that's in 9th grade from Southland this year and somebody that would be in 8th grade. And because of Minnesota State High School League eligibility rules, you can't technically transfer after 9th grade and be eligible that first year. So that's why it's important that we try to get this moved forward at this point so those kids know where their options are for the school.
They will practice with the varsity then?
They'll play in
No.
youth hockey until they get to 10th grade.
Tandems.
Those are just numbers we anticipate that we get from
Yeah.
them, that they aren't gonna be on the team until they get that 10th grade.
All right. Thanks. We're going to pull us back. We've got a motion and a second for the Minnesota State High School League membership renewal. Can I get a roll call vote? Sharon?
Dubay,
Yes.
Fox,
Yes.
Getz,
Yes.
Leathers,
Yes,
Lees,
Yep.
Young,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
All right. Motion passes for the approval of the Minnesota State High School League membership renewal for 2020, 2021. Thank you for all of those updates, Lisa. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
thanks, Lisa.
All right, next we have the request approval of distance learning grading protocols with our Executive Director of Educational Services, John Alberts, from some fancy library.
We have no one to read.
I'm just here in Prague, just hanging out, doing some distance learning, so.
What do you know?
Chairperson Dubay, members of the board, Superintendent Krenz, for your consideration and approval today are some updated grading practices for our distance learning period of the spring 2020. Just to give you a little bit of context, we've been working with these practices with our principals, and they have been consequently working with their leadership teams on this development. We've also consulted the Minnesota Department of Education guidance that was put out last week actually on grading to make sure we were in line with those particular sets of guidances. And these sets of guidances look pretty similar to what you would see across the Big Nine currently. And so just to kind of give you a little frame and context. This is also here for your consideration and approval because as you approve student handbooks, and student handbooks contain grading practices, that's why you're having to consider and approve these at this time, because we're asking you to approve some changes to grading practices for this time period. So give me 1 second. Can everybody see that okay?
Yep.
Okay. Let me walk through the document. I know that this is included in the board packet, but let me walk through the document for you just a little bit, and I will let you know some of the highlights. So the first paragraph identifies the fact that you did hear a lot of successes that come with distance learning, and we want to acknowledge and celebrate those. But we also recognize that this sudden change in distance learning did provide some problems for students and families as well. As you heard from some of our elementary reports, we've seen, some of our students who have had to watch their siblings because their parents had to work and they are now at home all the time. We still have students that work who are considered essential employees. We also have parents that there's some unequal ability for parents to help support their students. I saw an article today that came out that talked about the idea of grading during distance learning is really a grading of privilege. And so we recognize the fact that there is some consideration that comes to this period in hardship. We also know that it has great hardship on staff, that they've had to suddenly shift in the way that they've done business. And we've talked very specifically about this being distance learning and not online learning, because we see this as technology enhanced. That in a lot of ways we're trying to support technology, but also recognizing that is uneven for some families. Just last week, as David talked about, we distributed hotspots to families, so they're able to get online now potentially. But that's not half the battle. For some of them, it's even the understanding of how to get online. And so we recognize that we need to do some things a little differently when it comes to grading, but also celebrate the successes. So that's what you'll see under the two main points of district-wide grading practices. The first is that grades should be considered in all situations and with all students. They should be held harmless for spring grades. In other words, they should not receive worse grades than those they are already on track to receive before this period began. So again, we don't want to penalize students because of this period, but we also want to allow students to improve based upon this period as well. And secondly, that no student at any level will be retained for the following school year due only to distance learning. That other factors would be in consideration as well, not just the distance learning period. Then the document outlines each of the specific grade levels. So in preschool, we're really looking at teachers reverting to the previous winter checkpoint scores. And then if there's not an ability to assess the standards, then we'll simply mark that as not assessed. At the elementary level in particular, there's a number of report card features that are based upon spring benchmarking assessments that simply will not be able to happen this year because of distance learning. Following preschool and elementary, or preschool, we have elementary grade K4. And basically what we're asking teachers to do here is to give a mark for a student based on the evidence seen for semester 2 prior to the beginning of distance learning. That period from January to March. Then, if during distance learning, a teacher has seen evidence of student improving his or her performance, the teacher would then give the student the improved score. And again, to the same degree that if we see a student not, or we have a benchmark that is not able to be assessed, then we mark that as simply not assessed. Again, the idea being trying to hold students harmless for any difficulty that they might have. Moving on to the intermediate school, all courses in quarter 4 were graded on an SU basis, that's satisfactory or unsatisfactory, with a rubric being applied for an S+, S, or S-. So really, we're looking at only 4th quarter scoring here. Also, in this case, the life skills for 4th quarter will not receive any type of mark, simply because life skills are based upon seeing students in the classroom. And obviously, there's a number of things that teachers would not be able to observe in a distance learning scenario. Any questions about K to middle school before we get into the high school where it gets a little bit more complex?
Nope.
Okay, let me move on to the high school then. The high school grading practice took into many accounts, including things like college admission, NCAA eligibility, scholarships, and other things. We did have, and the grading document that MBE put out also did include some correspondence with a lot of the secondary partners in the state. And so because of that, we're going to continue to use traditional grading for students with some asterisks. So for second semester, students will earn one of the following letter grades. They'll either receive an A, B, C, a pass, or a no credit. If a no credit is considered for a student, the teacher, counselor, and administrator will need their conference, and they'll be working with the parents on that. Final determination will be made by administration. Then, in terms of the hold harmless feature, we were able to issue what's called mid-semester grades. And as you recall, grades at the high school level are simply cumulative and rolling. So in other words, mid-semester grade was the check-in point, and then the grades kept moving. And so we were able to issue, prior to distance learning beginning, a mid-semester grade. So that represents a starting place for us. Then if a student's mid-semester grade at the end becomes a lower grade than their mid-semester grade, the student will receive the mid-semester grade. If a student's semester grade is higher, the student will receive the semester grade. There will be no cumulative final exams, and life skills will not be recorded for semester 2. So essentially, we're looking at mid-semester as a starting point, and then if a student improves during distance learning, they get the better score. If the student does worse, essentially, they'll receive the mid-semester score.
John, Don Leathers?
Yes, sir.
That last point there, it's come up twice about life skills. Students who are in the life skills classes, do they still engage in e-learning activities?
That is correct. What we're referring to are those marks on the report cards that are separate from the academic grade.
Okay, thanks.
Yep, it's a separate set of marks.
Yep.
Any other questions? This seems a little appropriate. You just heard about the area learning center, so a lot of this will go without any explanation. Obviously, the computer-based programs that Matt Schmidt talked about are simply distance learning already, and so they'll just continue to move on as they always have been. Those grades are going to be the same as they've always received. Area Learning Center is quarter-based programs, and they'll use the same feature, except in this case, they're going to revert to the quarter 3 grade. And so if quarter 4 is a higher grade, then they'll get the quarter 4 grade. If it's lower, then they'll get the quarter 3 grade unless an NC is assigned. And the same thing for life skills. Couple future considerations. The districts and buildings will work with grade level departments and vertical teams to plan for the following school year to determine what students have missed. And we will continue, depending upon when we actually are able to resume school, we'll do our fall benchmarking assessments, which gives us an idea of where students are when they enter school. And so those fall benchmarks include things like our Fastbridge assessment, as well as our Scantron assessment. So we still will be looking to see where students are and further be communicating with that next grade level, what key learning areas weren't able to be maybe hit as hard as we typically have when we have the students in front of us. Finally, and this is not on the document, but I just wanted you to be able to read this. This is a statement that MDE has offered for school districts and their grading recommendations to add to transcript and report cards that simply states grades that are documented during the time period of March 16th to June 30th of 2020 reflect the distance learning period resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic. Future use of these grades for academic placement, admission, acceleration, or remediation is discouraged and should be only used with caution after balancing the information against students' performance in other grading periods. So recognizing the fact that the student's academic performance really needs to be thought of as a whole and not just from this one moment in time, because this one moment in time is very different from what we've been able to provide to a student. You know, we all know that the best scenario with the great teachers that we have in front of students each and every day. And we don't want to penalize students for what they weren't able to receive during this period. So any other questions about the grading document? I really do want to thank the principals and their leadership teams on their thoughtful approach. Clearly was so thoughtful that it did not go against any of the recommendations that MDE finally decided to give us.
Just so you're aware, this is an item we started working on almost immediately when we went into the distance learning. And as John pointed out, we finally got the recommendations last week. But luckily there wasn't the discrepancies we had found with our graduation plan. How's that?
John,
It's good. I was just gonna say, it's noteworthy too, just so for your information too, this document, I'm just scroll this up, it's outlined specifically as for this particular distance learning period. Should something happen beginning in the next academic year or during next academic year, we may need to revisit this again. So this is very time bound just for this current distance learning period. Mr. Leathers, I think I interrupted you.
No, I interrupted you. Did you and your administrative team draft this document? Did you get any outside help? And you just answered my last question. Will this become part of the various manuals of elementary and middle school and secondary handbooks?
Currently, this is going to be a standalone document on our website where we're housing all the resources during this distance learning time period. So I don't anticipate it becoming a permanent feature because I'm really hoping that we get kids in front of teachers eventually and we can revert back to our past grading practices. I think you heard this talked about at some of the other buildings. One of the things I know has happened at all the central office level, I'm meeting on a regular basis with my counterparts from across the Big Nine on a weekly basis. And so we've been collaborating as a group talking about these features, but ultimately this whole document was co-created with all of our principals together. And so really this is more of an anthology of their work that we all pulled together and put together, and I get the benefit of presenting to you, but it's all a representative of all the work across the district, frankly.
Well, it's a very, very solid document, John. People did a good job.
All right, can I get a motion to approve the distance learning grading protocols?
So move.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a roll call vote.
Dubay,
Yes.
Fox,
Yes.
Getz,
Yes.
Leathers,
Aye.
Lees,
Yep.
Young,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
All right, motion passes for the approval of the distance learning grading protocols. John, I just want to ask you to pass on our gratitude to the administrative team, to all of our building administrators administrators for all the input. I know we had the privilege of seeing this a little bit ago, and we were able to read through it carefully and see all the thoughtful work and care that went into creating this set of protocols, taking into consideration all the different factors that are impacting us right now. So thank you.
I'll just have you know, just so the board understands too, that the entire administrative team, when we first started this endeavor, we were meeting every day at 4 o'clock for at least an hour. We're now meeting every couple days a week now that we're kind of into it. But their dedication to making sure that we were doing this and doing this right, I think needs to be noted as well. So Carolyn, I can definitely say that we'll be able to pass that on tomorrow, because again, we are continually meeting because we know we're being handed information, as Mark Raymond would say, on tweet increments from MDE, and so we know we need to meet regularly. And I just need you to know how frequently the administrative team has been pulling together to try to make sure we're supporting students and families and the teachers as best we can during this environment, even if we're not together physically.
Great, thank you. All right, one final item, we have the request approval of the 2020-2021 identified official with authority designation. Even though it has my name on it, I'm gonna look to you.
This is an annual activity where you have to name the Iowa, the identified official with authority. It's too bad they call it Iowa, but it is what it is. And we thought this would be a good time. They've made a lot of changes this year to that process, new software and that sort of thing. It was recommended by MDE to get that out of the way. We'll get back on cycle. It's normally done in our July meeting. So we'll get back on cycle when you appoint the new Iowa on next July 2021.
Has John Alberts ever held this position?
What's that?
Has John Alberts ever held this position, or have you?
No, this has always been one that's superintendent, so.
It's been a what? What is it? I don't understand it.
It's the one that gives, I have the authority to give permission for access to different areas of our data and reports in the Minnesota Department of Ed software. There's only one person in a district that can allow members of your organization to go into the Minnesota Department of Ed software and do certain things.
Basically, he's our gatekeeper,
Yeah,
right?
yep.
All right.
Not that I want it, but
You get
somebody's
it.
gotta do it.
He's the gatekeeper, and that woman over there in the corner is the keeper of the keys.
Exactly, yes.
All right, can I get a motion to approve the 2020-2021 identified official with authority designation?
So move.
Second.
Can I get a roll call vote, Sharon?
Dubay,
Yes.
Fox,
Angie, make sure you sign.
Getz,
Because we have to actually send it
Angie, say yes.
Oh, yes.
there.
Leathers,
Yes.
Lees,
I'll have to think about it.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
think very long, please. Think very quickly.
Okay.
Thanks.
Young,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
All right.
Say, before we leave, can I just make one point?
Can I
Yeah,
finish
go ahead.
and confirm the approval of the 2020-2021 identified official with authority designation, David Prince?
Thank you.
All right, done.
Kathy, I've just been curious all hour. Are you sitting in the lobby at the Louvre Museum in Paris, France? Where are you?
No, I'm sitting in my mother-in-law's living room. She had surgery this morning, so I'm the caretaker on site.
Those are some nice paintings.
There's two of them. It's
Yeah.
a match set.
They're very nice.
Great,
Makes
thanks.
for a nice background.
David, have one more thing to say?
Yeah, just wanna add, a lot of what we've talked about tonight is about systems that we have organized in the district. And, as a district, you know, we've been, participated in Baldridge for a number of years. I think this is my 11th year in the district. I think we've been doing it 10 years. John is really that gatekeeper of what we do with Baldridge. As you are aware, we went through our second Baldridge evaluation or assessment this past spring. And that report will be due out. And I just want to say that through John's work, our principals' hard work, members of our organization's hard work, I think you're going to be very impressed with the report that you'll see from them. It's about opportunities for improvement, OPs, and what we do well, but it's also about levels that you reach. And we have to wait for their press release, but hopefully you'll be very pleased with the progress the school district and the way we're running the school district has been identified. So I just want to let you know that.
Thank you. I can't wait to hear about that. Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
I'm just gonna go, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. There's no May meeting, no May
Study session.
no May study session. So we'll see you all in June. Thank you.